I was reviewing my mother's funeral expenses when I noticed a charge for a mahogany casket we never selected. $4,700 for the Eternal Rest mahogany premium. We'd chosen the simple pine box. $800. Mom wanted modest. She made us promise. I called Eternal Peace Funeral Home. The director, Mr. Garrison, answered with practiced sympathy. The mahogany was the casket used for the viewing. We didn't have a viewing. It was a direct cremation. No service. He said he'd call back. He didn't. I drove to the funeral home and waited 3 hours. There must be a clerical error, he said. Families misremember. I have the signed contract. Pine. Direct cremation. Nothing else. He walked away. But I didn't leave. I contacted the crematorium that Eternal Peace used. Requested my mother's intake form. The form listed the container she arrived in. Cardboard cremation container. Not pine, not mahogany, cardboard. They'd charged us $800 for pine. Used a $40 cardboard box. I traced the mahogany casket serial number through the manufacturer. That casket was used for 7 different services. 7? How? It shouldn't be possible. Each casket should be used once. Garrison was recycling caskets, using them for viewings, then returning them to stock, charging every family full price. I requested cremation records for every service Eternal Peace handled last year. Cross-referenced containers with caskets billed. Of 127 cremations, 94 were billed for caskets costing $2,000 or more, but 89 arrived at the crematorium in cardboard containers. $340,000 in caskets that were never used. I took everything to the State Funeral Board. The investigator, Patricia Wells, reviewed my documentation with growing alarm. This is systematic. He's been doing this for years. The audit took 4 months. What they found was horrifying. 11 years of fraud. Over 2,000 services affected. Casket recycling, service padding, cremation fraud, multiple bodies burned together, ashes mixed randomly. And the worst discovery, a storage unit with 11 bodies in various states of decomposition. Families who'd paid for cremation. Services never performed. I asked to be there when they arrested him. That's unusual. He charged my family $4,700 for a casket my mother never touched. He told me grieving families misremember. I need to see this end. Wells agreed. Dawn, Garrison's house. I stood behind the investigators when they knocked. He opened the door in his bathrobe, saw me. His face went white. Mr. Reyes, what is this? This is what happens when someone doesn't misremember. They handed him the warrant. Harold Garrison, you're under arrest for fraud, abuse of a corpse, and theft. This is insane. I've served this community for 30 years. You've defrauded this community for 11 years. I held up my phone. Casket serial number 47823M. Billed to 14 different families, including mine. His face twitched. Cremation intake records show 89 bodies arrived in cardboard containers. But you billed those families for mahogany, for bronze, for oak. Those are clerical errors. 11 bodies in a storage unit aren't clerical errors. Families who paid for cremation. Services you never performed. His wife appeared in the doorway. Harold, what's happening? Your husband has been storing bodies instead of cremating them. One family scattered cement powder in the ocean thinking it was their father. She backed away from him. They cuffed him in his own foyer. The man who'd told me grieving families misremember. My mother was cremated in a cardboard box, I said. You charged us for pine. Then you charged us for mahogany we never ordered. You counted on grief to make us stop asking questions. I was overwhelmed. The volume of services. You own 3 vacation homes and a yacht. You weren't overwhelmed. You were profiting. They walked him toward the car. Neighbors were watching from driveways. The funeral director who'd handled their family's services too. 2,000 families, I said. 11 years. $4.2 million in fraud. And every time someone questioned a bill, you told them they were confused. Emotional. Misremembering. He had nothing to say. A car pulled up. Patricia Wells stepped out with more investigators. We found 3 more storage units, she said. 19 additional bodies. Garrison's face crumpled. I gave them all the dignity Mom deserved, I said. Now I have an urn on my mantle and no way to know if it's actually her. I can explain. You can't. There's no explanation for selling families cement powder and calling it their father. They pushed him into the car. I walked over to the window, looked at him one last time. You told me families misremember during difficult times, that we were confused. He stared at the floor. I wasn't confused. I was grieving. And you tried to profit from it. The car pulled away. Wells stood next to me. 23 years minimum. 847 counts. I watched the car disappear. He counted on grief making people blind. I turned back toward my car. He forgot it makes some people see clearer.